Hello everyone, welcome back to OCD Recovery's YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about the importance of riding out triggers, bringing discomfort with you. What do I mean, or what do we mean when we say wear anxiety like an uncomfortable coat? The importance of balance, and just basically just a little update about how my life is going. And Rob wanted me to touch on the vacation I just went on this past weekend and how that was different about some of the vacations I might have went on, say, 2 years ago in the beginning of my OCD recovery journey. So before I get started, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button. It's really good for the algorithm, helps sharing some of the content. Now, on the YouTube channel, we have a lot of videos talking about acceptance. We have a lot of videos talking about how to dispute, a lot of them done by myself. But this one, I want to go a little bit off the beaten path and focus primarily on triggers. Now, the most important thing to cover, and in time, if you can, I just ate a bunch of chicken drums, so it's all stuck in my teeth. So when you look at life, social media is really good at trying to convince you that you have to avoid This is not OCD related. This is way outside just from suffer. This is everyone. A lot of people are trying to convince you that the best thing to do in life is avoid triggers. More than likely, because we live in a time where this is the best time to live, the majority of people, compared to 1850 and below. I mean, even if you live in not the best area of the world, a lot of it still is a lot better than it was 200 years ago. So perspective is absolutely key for this. The other important thing is to realize is that avoiding triggers is never the answer. Now, that doesn't mean you can't balance. If you're in a situation where you think it's unhealthy for your life and you kind of ride it out for a while and you see how it goes, understandable when you make a decision, but that's not what OCD sufferers do, and that's not what people do. They make immediate lifestyle changes in a matter of seconds. That is a compulsive behavior for a sufferer and non-sufferer. So I want to talk about the importance of riding out triggers. When I was on vacation this week, and I was up in Rocky Mountain National Forest, if you look up Rocky Mountain National Forest and type in Estes Park, I think it's Esthetician. That's what it was. Estes Park. We had an Airbnb with a hot tub overlooking the mountains. Now, before, when I would go on vacations like that, I would be utterly convinced that I had to be feeling a certain way before I actually went on those vacations. So I would actually run from all the triggers. I wouldn't bring anything with me. When I was on vacation, I would do everything I could to forcefully try and enjoy the moment. And this was a problem. The reason why it's a problem is because there's no right or wrong universal principle on when you should or should not be enjoying a moment. The reason why we think it is because humans have a value system, a hierarchy system, understandably so. I have one myself. Things that we deem that we should be enjoying. Now, I don't do that anymore. I still have a value system of things I enjoy more or don't enjoy, but I don't put the demand on them that I should be enjoying it. So when I was up at the park, walking around, went for a hike. That's why I'm a little bit sunburned right now. Fun fact, when you go hiking in a valley that's just covered 11,000 feet with snow, but it's 70 degrees, the reflection from that snow turns into a microwave and you get sunburned as shit. So it is super funny because you're like, how am I sunburned? There's 3.5 feet of snow next to me. This is crazy. But same thing for anyone who goes skiing or snowboarding. The reason why balancing a balancing act is so key for doing things when bringing discomfort with you is because that's the majority of the journey. The majority of the journey is actually bringing discomfort with you for the ride, and that can be intrusive thoughts, images, sensation and urges, and realizing that life isn't going to stop moving forward, okay? The only thing that we know is change is constant, okay? The more people in life try to control change and think that everything needs to be a certain way, the harder you make life for yourself psychologically, whether you're a sufferer or non-sufferer. So the most important thing about life is moving forward whilst bringing discomfort with you and doing the best you can to look at life in a rational manner. So when we're triggered, what we tend to do is we tend to avoid everything. Like I said, I wouldn't go on vacations. I wasn't going to work. One of the biggest mistakes that OCD sufferers or people who have a psychological distress is that they pull out of competitions, they pull out of work, they pull out of sports. you are better off wearing it no matter how tough it is and going it with you. I hate to break it to you. If you're an athlete and you have a lot riding on you, leaving the competition is the worst thing you can do for yourself. You don't understand how lucky you are to be in a competition in a pretty much free society when you could be shipped off to World War II, World War I, you could have died in poverty. So I understand that it's difficult in these situations. I'm using this example because it is an example that kind of pushes that mentality that you always need to take care of yourself. You always need to rest when you need to. That is a very poor piece of advice. I'm here to tell you that. And burnout too. Burnout is interesting. Burnout is not really real, and in the way that I see it. The reason why we have a belief about burnout is strictly this. Once you start feeling tired, because you don't like the feeling of being tired, because you're afraid of making mistakes when you're tired, you automatically say to yourself, I'm burned out. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have a balancing act in life. I'm not saying you have to work 95 hours a week, but the burnout, people will be like, oh, if you work more than 25 hours a week, it's burnout. And that's just a ridiculous statement. There's no hour correlation, no matter what the literature is telling you, because you can't look at that person individually and look at the belief systems they're holding, because they're not looking for belief systems. If I was to sit down 100 people who say they're experiencing burnout because of triggers, I could see in a matter of seconds why the burnout is a made-up concept that they have put on themselves. The concept of burnout is pretty much, how do I want to say this? The concept of burnout is overused. It's like the term narcissism or gaslighting or anything like that. Anything that we experience that's not perfect, whether it's a feeling, the way our life is going, we put a label on it. That person's a narcissist. They're gaslighting me. I'm burned out. And then you kind of live your life in this, you're just existing. You're not really living. If you look at the people who are going for it at all times, and I mean they're going for it in their entire life, they're bringing discomfort with you everywhere they go. And they're doing things because that's what they want to do. And they realize that doing something does not always require you to feel a certain way. That's where discipline comes in. I always say this. If I was to take every single person that goes to a Tony Robbins, and there's things I like about Tony Robbins, there's things I don't like about Tony Robbins. If I was to take every single person that goes to that big 5-day event he does in South Florida, and I went to them a year later, I guarantee that 95% and up did not make any substantial changes in their life. The reason why is motivation and inspiration is as fleeting as a cloud going over your head. Real change happens in discipline and habits. When you're doing a habit, it doesn't mean you're always enjoying it, like brushing your teeth or flossing your teeth, but you do it because it's a discipline you require. Motivation and inspiration is eye-grabbing and attention-grabbing in a world of social media where everything is based on that, but it actually doesn't change your life. It's a step in the right direction, but motivation and inspiration is not something that it's not something we believe in our minds. It's something that's going to push us to this magical fairyland. It just isn't the case. There's many people who are motivated and inspired in a moment-to-moment basis, and they never make substantial change in their life. Because substantial change in their life is not about avoiding triggers. It's not about constantly feeling a certain way. It's about being disciplined, bringing discomfort with you whilst you change your beliefs over time. That is where real change happens. The reason why most people will never change, the vast majority, OCD suffer or not, is because the real change that happens, developing more of a stoic perspective, developing more of a philosophical outlook on life, takes years to adopt. And it's not a 12-week crash course on CBT. It's not a 10-week crash course on change your cognition outlooks. Yes, you can learn insight, but you're not going to see substantial change in 10 to 12 weeks, no matter what you're doing in life. You're not going to build a substantial business in 10 to 12 weeks. You're not going to learn French in 10 to 12 weeks. You're not going to go from weighing 300 pounds to 175 pounds in 12 weeks. Well, you could, but you ain't going to keep it. The chances are you're not going to keep it all. But you see what I'm saying. It's the short-term gratification, which is fun and enjoyable, doesn't always lead to the long-term results that we want to see. So this is super important to talk about. This talk is a little bit more philosophical if you're still with me. I think it's really important to talk about stuff like this because We are convinced that life is supposed to be about avoiding triggers. If you took someone who constantly went towards their triggers and handled discomfort, and you went towards someone that was more balanced but avoided a lot of their triggers, the person who is going towards their triggers all the time in a non-compulsive manner, but just going after it, will more than likely have a much more substantial life than the person that's not. That's not easy to hear, and there's nothing wrong with watching Netflix and binge watching TV shows and having some sleep-in days and stuff like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about believing, the belief system, that life needs to be a certain way, and you have to feel a certain way when you go places. And that is key to talk about, because a lot of people think that you can't do that, and then what happens is they end up getting stuck. I'm tearing up my little sticky note from today. Now, I am going to show the dogs, because a couple people have been asking me to show the dogs, so I will do that. I know people really like Daisy and Milo. They're obviously the brats of the family, but they're great. Okay. Here's Erica at her desk in the dark. I don't know why she's sitting in the dark. Who knows what she's doing over there? And then obviously, let me turn the light on. Oh, I need Milo. I didn't even see you. So here's Milo and Daisy on the couch. There's Daisy. And there's Milo. He's a cutie. He's also whining. He's also gained like 40 pounds because he eats Daisy's food. We figured out he was eating Daisy's food when no one was around. So we no longer allow him to do that. The backyard still looks like shit. I know I've shown that in some of the videos. Erica's laughing because our yard was completely shredded by the dogs. And no, you're not going out there. This is the best piece of material in the house. It's a coffee maker. Erica's like, why are you showing them the coffee maker? But, the importance of this video that I wanted to state was, as I said before in the beginning, the benefit of bringing the discomfort with you no matter where you're going. And that is especially true in the workplace, because I'm telling you right now, no matter what anyone's trying to convince you of, work can have substantial meaning in many different ways. So I know we're living in this world where a lot of people are telling you don't have to work and you could just do what you want. You can do that. You're absolutely correct. But good luck having the funds to do the things you want to do. Money is important. It's not the entirety of life, but when people say that money doesn't create happiness, that's not entirely true. Money has benefits to have you not worry about bills, to do other things like that. Because they're all excited. So it's just not, you have to watch out for the black and white statements like money doesn't equal happiness. And that's not entirely true either, because if you talk to someone who has $100 million and they have a good psychological outlook on life, they probably have a lot less worry in certain areas. They might have bigger worries in different ways, but these black and white statements that people say just don't make a lot of sense once we break them down. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little bit different. I didn't really keep on topic, actually. I kind of wandered in this video, which was really good. I physically wandered and I mentally wandered, which is hilarious. Erica's just staring at me from the chair. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and as always, have a great day.